I'm Claire from Created the Ottaway, an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up! Here in the UK, and I have got a really nice little make for you today, so thank you for joining me. We are going to make this lovely little, well, I like to call it a window box card, because it is exactly that. It looks like a window box to me. It's full of flowers. You can put your sentiment on the front, and then there's room on the back to write your personal message. It also flat, so depending on is how flat it goes, and it fits in a normal size envelope. Okay, so just about. So I hope that you enjoy this make tonight. So what do we need? Let's have a look. So that's it. It's hard to see from this angle because if I put it like that you can't see it at all. But you can see how wide it is, not too wide. So it stands like that. The sides, depending on how much you score them, will hold down. And for the front I've actually put a little dimensional on the back of there just to hold it in place. But let me show you what you need to make it. Let's put that so that it's so accessible. You are going to need a sheet of A4. I've picked soft suede because it's quite an earthy look. It's sort of a mid-brown. I've got two pieces here of 6x6, but literally we're just going to take a little bit of a strip off both of them. I'll explain that as we go along, and other than that I've got quite a lot of die cuts that I've pre-prepared just so that you don't have to watch me for ages. And these dies are from this set, which is the Dandy Wishes dies. I've used the top of the flower, some of the stalks here and some of the grass, and this little flower here, which we're going to layer a couple of times. Now, because Stampin' Up! Is so good at coordination, what I've done is looked at what colours are in my designer series paper, and I've chosen the colours that match it, which is Misty Moonlight. This is actually, I knew I should have looked, Bumblebee. And this is Mossy Meadow. So these are the colours that are exactly in the papers that I'm going to use. Obviously there's two sides to this paper. I could use those sides, it would still match. It would still match my flowers as well that I'm using. But I think I'm going to do the same as the one that I pre-prepared. Just because I really like how it's come out. They're not really colours that I would put together, but it's worked out really well for me looking at what colours are in the designer series paper and just going with that. So that's what you need if you get those ready. An A4 sheet, a couple of sheets or a couple of strips of 6x6 paper, and lots of die cut flowers. Of course there are other sets that Stampin' Up! Do. You can stamp the flowers and then fussy cut or die cut them out. I just thought it was quite easy to use these ones from the Dandy Wishes set because it's just done for you then. So other things that I am using, I'm using a circle punch. You may not need this, but this is what I'm using tonight. I'll show you what that's for in a moment. And I'm using this tag punch for the front of the card for my sentiment. I'll just show you for that bit, but again, you don't need to use that. You can use whatever you've got in your stash. I'm also using some Tombow glue and some of these dimensionals. And that's about it really. So shall we get started? So, oh, and of course you need your paper trimmer. How could I forget that? So the first thing we're going to do is on the short side of our A4 sheet, this side here, we're going to cut it at 4 3/8. Now I've carefully measured this so that it will fit in a normal size envelope. So 4 3/8. And you want the whole sheet of the A4, which is 11 3/4, but you don't need to measure it, you're just going to use the whole thing. So then on the long side, so of the piece that you've cut off, the bit that's 4 3/8 by 11 3/4, you're going to do some scoring. So you are going to score at 4. So remember, get rid of your cutting blade and you're just looking at scoring. At 4 and 5 1/2. So that's still scoring. This is where I struggle to fit it in the camera. 9 1/2. 9 1/2. And then 11. So I'll go through those measurements again for you. So on the long side, what you've done is you've scored it at 4 inches right across the whole thing, 5 1/2 inches, 9 1/2 inches, and 11 inches. Now you're going to turn it so that it's the shorter side, and this time you are going to score it at 2 1/2, but you're not going to do the very first panel. So this piece here, you're not going to score. It's 2 1/2. So I'm going to do it actually from the bottom and score up to there. So your score line starts from there. I'll put that, let's put that out of the way so you can see. Your score line starts there all the way to the end, okay? So this first square shouldn't have any score line in it at all. Okay, so that is the base, that's basically our box. Now let's turn it into the window box. So all of these tabs or these score lines on the top, we're going to cut down. So again, I am going to do that with my paper trimmer. I'm going to put my cutter right at the top. Okay, and I'm going to cut just to the middle line. Okay, so that's the first one at 4. And then the next one is 5 1/2. So I'm just following where I've scored, but cutting it to the middle. And the next one is 9 1/2. I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. Okay, and then 11 was the last bit. Okay, again, let's move that out of the way. And I'm going to take my scissors. So if I show you that now, so this bit has got no score lines on at all. This bit now has become a flap. This bit has become a flap. This bit has become a flap. Now this thin piece here, I'm going to cut off. So that rectangle there, but I want to make a tab of this end bit. So if I cut it, and then you'll see what I mean. Let's lay that down so you can see. So I've actually cut off a piece like that. So it's just past my score line. And I'm going to cut a piece at an angle here, like that, because that is going to be the bit that sticks this window box together. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure that all of these are right to the middle. That's fine. So that's what I should have ended up with. Okay, so now let's burnish it. So all the score lines, you're just basically folding them round. That makes a box like that. Okay, I'm not sticking it together yet, but that comes together like that. The bit that isn't scored is my back, and the 3 flaps will come down to make my window box. So like that, okay? So let's burnish those with a bone folder just to make sure they're nice and creased firmly. Okay, and then these ones, they go to the inside, so I'm just going to burnish them that way round. Okay. So that everything's nice and crisp. Okay, now we could just stick our box together now, but it would make it harder to stick the DSP on. So let's do the DSP first. Okay, the only tricky bit is thinking about your box and putting it on the right side. So if we start with, if I just move that one out, if we start with the base DSP, I'll just pull that up so you can see on my one. So we're going to be doing this green layer I've put on here on the front 3 sides. So there, there and there. So the sizes for that, so it's this panel and this panel. This is the pattern that I've chosen for that. And the sizes are 2 3/8 by 3 7/8. So 2 3/8 is the width there. So if I cut that at 2 3/8, okay, 1 2 3, 2 3/8. Cut that panel off. Okay, so that is the right width for there. So 2 3/8 by 3 7/8. So 3 7/8 means that I've done that piece there. Okay, now the 2 side pieces are obviously the same, 2 3/8, but they're by 1 3/8. I hesitated then because I thought I was looking at the wrong piece. So 2 3/8 it should already be cut, and you're cutting a piece off that's 1 3/8. Okay, now that bit's obviously too small, so we're going to get rid of that. So we need another piece that's 1 3/8. Take that out of the way because I'm getting confused now. By 2 3/8. And just if your pattern is like mine, that it has to be a certain way, or you want them to all look the same, just make sure you're cutting it the right way round. So 2 3/8 by 3 7/8, 1 3/8 by 2 3/8. And I'm just going to stick those on straight away so I don't lose those bits, and I know that they're done. Okay, so I'm using a bit of Tombow glue, as always, because it gives me a bit of wiggle room. We do like a wiggle room. So this card, really perfect for Easter. Window box card. Perfect for Mother's Day. Perfect for a friend that loves flowers. For any occasion, really. Could be birthday, could be just a simple hello or a thank you. I think we should send more cards. It always amazes me how good it is to get a card in the post from someone, especially if it's handmade, because it's like they've been thinking of you, and it just gives you a nice warm feeling. So that's the front and sides of the box. So now we're going to do, should we do the, no, let's not do the back piece because we might want to stamp that. Let's do these flaps. So on the one that I made, these flaps are these bits here, and also I put bit across the back as well, just to finish off the back piece. So we're going to do that bit there and these 3 pieces here. So the size of that, let's move that out of the way just for a minute. And so these are 1 3/4 wide. So if I cut a panel that's 1 3/4 inches, and let's do another one at the same time, and then we know we've got 2, because we're going to need 2 of one size and 2 of another. So before I do any more cutting, I'm just going to make sure that that's right. 1 3/4. Yep, perfect. So we need 2 that are 1 3/4. Oh, sorry. By 3 7/8. So 3 7/8. I'll do those 2 pieces first. 1 3/4 by 3 7/8. Those 2 pieces. And then it's 1 3/4 by 1 3/8. I'm guessing now. Yeah, it must be 1 3/8. Okay. I think that's right. Keep everything crossed, girls, just in case it's wrong, because I didn't bring any more paper through. 1 3/8. You know what I'm like. I'm usually running back and forth to get some more paper. Okay. So there are 2 pieces the same, and there are 2 pieces the same. Let's bring that in. So if I do these bits first, let's just hold that up. Yay, we got it. So this was 1 3/4 by 1 3/8. Put that piece there and do the other little piece as well. Do like the blue side as well, don't you? Really like the blue. So glad we've got this colour for another year. Okay, and then these longer panels were 1 3/4 by 3 7/8. Basically, what I've done is just done an 1/8 of an inch less. So these sides are actually 4, so I've done 3 7/8. So that one's just going to go on there, like that. So that's the front of my box. And then I'm just going to put a piece at the top here, just so it's finished. The inside of the card is finished. Okay, and I'm going to put that in there. Okay, now I am going to do the back next, just because it's easier to glue it on when it's flat. So this piece here, this panel, this is where I would put my personal message. I've already cut the panel for that, and that's 3 6/8 by 4 1/8. Now I've done that 2/8 of an inch smaller, just so you've got a nice border. And the other thing that I did on my first one, I actually put a little bit of DSP down the side, just because I think it just added to it. Otherwise it just looks like you've just got a big white square on there. I think I'm going to use this paper this time. So just going to do it, I think 1/2 inch is probably wide enough. Piece, because I don't want it to take up too much room. Just on the edge there. Okay, let's stick that down. Before I stick it on, I'm just going to put it down the edge here. Well, I could have measured that, couldn't I? And then I wouldn't have needed cutting it off. That's right, it's only a little bit. So I'm just going to cut that off there. And then that's where I will write my personal message. What's in my sentence? I brought the Garden Wishes set through because I thought for the front I could use wishing you all the best. Made with love for a true friend. Yeah, should we put that in there? Let's have a look. Let's see how straight my stamping is. Okay. So I always put mine at an angle because it makes me concentrate on the stamp rather than the edge of the block. So I'm just going to have a practice with that. Oh, that's a lot of ink. That is a juicy ink pad. Now, if you stamp with that and you press too hard, all of that ink is going to come off everywhere. So I'm just going to take that off and start again. So now I know that this ink pad is super juicy. I'm not going to press. I'm just going to tap. Can you see? And then I don't get that rim of ink all round. So let me see if I lined that up. Lovely. That's really nice font as well, isn't it? Okay, so just tap in because it's a very juicy ink pad. Okay, and I'm trying to get that straight. There you go, I think that's okay. So now I'm going to put some glue on the back of there. Doesn't need too much because it's got no weight to hold, and that's going to go on the back. Ta-da! Nice. Now, if I bring that round, bring all those round, I'm going to put some glue on this tab here, fold it in and press it down flat. So let's do that on that tab. It is a big tab, but I don't mind that. I want my card to stay together. So if I just fold the whole thing flat now, that makes sure that it's in the right place. Okay, and I'll just press on that for a moment. Let's move this ink pad out of the way because I'm prone to sticking my fingers in it. Put that back. Let's have a look. Ta-da! So we've got a nice flat back that's strong and decorated. We've got our bits at the front and our side. Now we need to do the panels inside for our flowers to go on. So what you do with that, you need an extra bit of the same colour card as your box. So you can take it off of the strip that you've got left over. Or if you've just got odds and ends like I have, can't throw anything away. You're going to need 2 pieces. So the size of those pieces are 5 by half. Or 1 did I do them? Let me have a look at the original. I think I did it by half, yeah. So it doesn't matter how fat your strips are. You could do it at 1. I did it half an inch. But the length needs to be the same as this, plus a half an inch. Plus an inch, which is why I'm doing 5. Okay. Oh, look at that, it's already 5. It's like I pre-prepared it. 5 by half. Okay. So it's as thin as that. That'll be all right. It hasn't got much weight on it. You might want to do it an inch if you want a stronger card. Oh, that's moved. There, half. Okay, 5. Oh, I did it again. I knocked it with my thumb. Okay, there you go. So I've got 2 strips that are 5 inches long. Now I need to score them at half an inch both ends. So be careful not to cut. We're just scoring at half an inch there and half an inch there, and the same on this side. Half an inch there, half an inch there. I know it seems strange, but it will all come together, I promise. So you've got your strips, you've done your half inch. 1 needs to go that way, fold that way, and one needs to be folded back that way. Okay, so the same with this, one goes that way, and one goes that way. Okay, now what we're going to do is use those as the panel, the bars inside for our flowers to go on. So we put some glue on the bit that's going to touch the side of the box. So at this end it will be on the outside there, and this end it will be on the outside there. So let's put some glue on there, a little bit of glue on that bit, and a little bit of glue on that bit. Okay, now this is the only tricky bit. So I place that one there. So I don't know if you can see that. I've put it right to the edge there, and then what happens is when I fold my card, like so. So by making sure that that fold there is to the front of the card, I press down on that, it should automatically meet the other side, and I just press it down, and that makes my first bar across. Can you see? So what I did, if I'm trying to get the best angle for you, so I put some glue on the outside there, put it right to the corner of my card inside, made sure that that side was stuck, and then just folded the card as though it was folded flat for posting, and that helps that side go in the right place. So this time I'm going to put some glue again on the outside pieces, that piece there, that piece there, and this time I'm going to put it towards the back, so there. Oh, make sure it's tucked inside. When you feel that one's stuck, it's not really good to show you on camera, but I don't know if you can, can't really see. Let me stick it and then I'll explain it a bit again. So now I've got two panels. Can you see those two panels? So they're just two bars across. Does that make sense? I don't know if you can see it there and there. And that's my bars across the middle for my flowers to go on. Now obviously if I just stick my flowers, they're going to be really low down. So what I tend to do is I use a circle punch. This one is 2 1/4, but you don't have to use a 2 1/4 one. You don't even have to use a circle. I just found this was the easiest way for me to do it. So I punch 2 circles. There's 1, and there's 2, and it's the same colour card as your base and as your inside bars. It's just so that it doesn't show really. And then I cut, it's not even a 1/4, I just cut a piece across there, and I do the same here just by eye. Doesn't have to be a set size. And then 1 is going there, so I'm going to put some glue on the back and stick it there. Should we do that? I'm going to do it at the back. So the one that's nearest. So put it in place, and again, if you press it together and hold it down, because if you're trying to press on it when it's open, you've got no purchase on it, so you've got nowhere to press onto, okay? And that will stay there, like that. Now, you're not going to see that in a minute because you're going to cover it with flowers. Now, this one goes at the front, and again, you can put it towards the front or behind. I'm going to put this one behind, I think. There's no reason for that, it's just me, just decided. And I'm putting it slightly lower than the one at the rear. Okay, and again I'm just going to fold it all flat so it's all like that. Okay, and now it's ready for me to add my flowers. So the flowers, how do we do that? So like I said, I've die cut lots and lots of pieces. Pieces of grass, pieces of leaves, lots of flowers here. Let's just put them in some sort of order. Lots of these yellow ones. And I wanted 3 colours, so I've got the blue, the Misty Moonlight, Bumblebee, and then just basic white. Okay, now to make the basic white ones stand out a little bit more, I used my stamping marker just to put some dots in the middle, which doesn't sound anything at all, but the overall effect is really effective. So it's just like I'm pretending that to make pollen on it. Now you could just colour a circle, but it's not as effective as that. I don't know if you can see that. Because it's dots, it looks like different colours of yellow, so it is definitely like pollen. There you go. I think it's effective anyway. It pleases me. There you go. So, and I usually do things in 3s. So we've got 3 white ones. What else did I do? Let's concentrate on the yellow flowers at the moment. Dimensional. So luckily Stampin' Up! Do 2 sizes. Both hexagons. Very pleasing. I've got an old Stampin' Up! Pen that's got a big ball end. And what I like to do with the flowers is just shape them. So I'm just going to cut that little bit off there because I don't want that. And because it's such a fat ball end, I just roll it around and that gives it a bit of shape. Oh, that bit's got an extra bit on as well because it's usually a flower with a long stem. So I'll just cut that off. And just do a couple of these, different sizes. And then when you put them all together, it gives them a bit more shape. There's another one there. And let's do a couple of these little ones as well. So not a lot of shape, just a little bit of shape. So I'm going to use the dimensionals to layer them up on 2 of them, I think. I'm going to have, just so there's different sizes and different layers, because I don't want everything to look the same. So I just turn that so it's slightly off. And that one is going to go, oh, that's gone exactly on top. And then a little dimensional for the top bit, just for there. And, oh, that one, I'm just going to put a small one on the top. Oh, let's do one that I've shaped. Okay, so it's the same flower but not quite. These ones I'm going to leave. So I'm quite happy with those. Oh, I just shaped these ones here. So just a little bit of shape there and there. And the other one. The blue ones I'm leaving as they are. Oh, come back. Okay. So let's bring that over. I'm going to put one of the big ones, the one that's really full, I'm going to put on the front of this one here. The only thing when you're sticking your flowers on, every now and again, fold it flat because you don't want them to come past your box. Otherwise, when you try and put it in the post, you won't be able to because it won't fit in the card. So this one, again, I'm going to stick on with a dimensional, but I'm going to put it sort of down a bit so it's half in. And where do I want to put another one? Well, I want one of those for the front. Oh, let's put some blue ones at the back. So let's have a look what they look like first. So I can sort of have them poking out of there. But remember, I don't want them poking past the card. Okay, so we need to be a bit careful where we put them. Yeah, I think we've got it. So I'm just going to put a bit of glue on the main part there because I want it to be fairly loosely flowing, I don't want it to be glue everywhere, if that makes sense. I'll put that one there. Oh, made that stick out too much. Okay. And then, what else? Let's put some greenery. So these leaves, oh, that's got stuck on there. You could put at the front, you could put behind. You're just making it look 3D. So I am going to put that one sort of behind the blue flower, I think. So it's still on the front, but it looks like it's coming from behind. Okay, so there's one. And these are quite big, long green pieces of grass, so they could go right down hidden, but come up. As long as they're not over the line. And let's do that again with one this side. So this time, to get it at a different angle, I'm turning it over. Okay. And what else? Let's have some green leaves behind. So I think, so I'm sticking it to the back of the first circle. I feel like this needs something over here. Maybe could do that there. So I need to put glue on the front because I'm gluing it to the back of this circle. Okay. And is there any more? What else? Put another one here. Yeah, let's put another one there. How much does that need to come down? If I angle that slightly. So again, I'm just trying to make sure I stay within the lines of the box when it's flat. I think that might be it. Let's put one of these here to hide that little gap. One of these here, just slightly under to hide that gap. And then there should be one more. Where should we put that? Should we put that? Let's have a look. Put that down there. Yeah, let's put that down there. Okay. That's going to go there. Okay. Now, all I need is the sentiment for the front. I've still got loads of flowers left that I might come back to. So how did I do my piece for the front? So I've got a piece of white card. I've got this punch. Now, I quite like doing this little trick. So I've got the card in my punch and I hold it in place and I grip it but not punch. I don't press. And that allows me to use my Stampin' Right marker to just go around the edge of my punch. Oh, look, I did that really bad. Did you see how wonky that was? Okay, let's try again. So I'm gripping it. Oh, that's not much better. We're going to go with it. It's because it's so curvy. Okay, so I don't know if you can see, there's a bit of a green line going on all around. Now when I punch, it comes out and it's got a green line all around. Ta-da, I should have said. Right, now all I need to do now is stamp straight. So where's the wishing you all the best? That's wishing you all the best. There you go. That's handy. Put some ink on that. Remember, this is a juicy ink pad, so I'm not going to press too hard. I'm just going to kiss it. Oh, there's still a lot of ink on there. Right, now we need to do this. Oh, stuck to my fingers. Straightish. Ta-da! Okay, so that's going to go on the front there, and I'm going to put it at an angle with some dimensionals just on the back, just because it gives it a bit of detail, just like that. Okay, and I think I might put 2 of these on as well. So just on that, because it feels like there's a bit of a gap. Let's put these 2 together, just with glue. Okay, but then when they're stuck, I can fluff them up a bit. Does that sound like a new technical word, fluffing them up? Okay, like that. And then I'm going to put a little dimensional on the back just to make them stand up just a bit on the sentiment, like that. Ta-da! I think we might be there. Okay, let's move all of those out the way. And there is our box card that folds flat for an envelope. Now it's up to you if you stick those down with a little dimensional, or whether you, when it stands up, it actually looks nice, but the angle from the camera you can't really see it. It looks like it's trying to fly, but I promise you it doesn't need sticking down. So I hope you like that. Thank you for watching. You can order from me online, or you can email me, or check out my website createtheottaway.co.uk. Thanks for watching. Bye.